Well, there are two primary strains, or in other words, mutations of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which causes COVID-19. The first strain is labeled D614 and is found predominantly in China and other parts of Asia. And the mutation, labeled G614, is typically found in Europe and Northern America. The difference in the two strains comes from a mutation on the S spike of the virus. The S spike is composed of glycoproteins and can be seen in navy blue on the diagram. The spikes bind to ACE2 receptors on the host human cells and cause infection. ACE2 receptors are what the S spike bonds to. They're located on the surface of cells and can be seen in yellow on the slide's diagram. Specifically, they are highly concentrated in the lungs, which can help explain why COVID is a respiratory disease.
Due to the mutation, these two strains have different characteristics. The G strain is more transmissible and stable than the D strain. However, there is no difference in the disease severity. Often the slides show that since the emergence of the G614 mutation, the number of cases of this mutation has exponentially increased, and to date it causes a vast majority of COVID cases.
And there are three primary mechanisms to explain this. First, there are physical mutagens like UV light or X-rays. Secondly, there can be natural changes in the nucleic basis, as you can see in the image. And thirdly, nucleic acids can be replicated incorrectly just by the fault of an enzyme. For coronavirus, it is not known what exactly caused the change in nucleic acids. For a RNA virus like COVID-19, mutations are incredibly common, which means that there are millions upon millions of mutations. However, very few of these mutations make it further into the virus population, as either they die out or they have no effect on how the virus functions. Here's a table listing some of the different spike mutations, but you can see that D614G mutation is by far the most common, and that is why it has been focused on, as the others have very little impact on their regions.
Let's talk about transmission. Studies show that the virus first reached the UK from Wuhan, China, traveling to Singapore and South Korea. The next step was to spread via flight passengers to London. From there, the Leicester airport was the hub from where the virus spread to the rest of Europe and the USA. It was confirmed that COVID-19 is transmissible from symptomatic people to others by direct contact with infected person or by contact with contaminated objects and surfaces. The G strain that is more transmissible is the most common mutation in the world now. We should wear masks everywhere except home and nature. When you speak to a person, you should keep your distance and ask that person to wear a mask. Remember, wearing a mask is not a shame, it's our reality. Don't touch your face, avoid crowded places, wash your hands thoroughly, avoid shaking hands, keep your distance, and avoid using public transport. Take a walk or ride your bike instead. Be sure your relatives also take measures.
Some people are not taking this measure seriously. The government is just trying to protect you. The government will ask you to perform social distancing. They'll close down public spaces, ban the transportations, and shut down workplaces and let people work from home. They will ask people to accept body temperature check when entering public spaces. Measures protect you as well as the people around you that you care about. Well, the second thing the government is performing is the test called the PCR antigen test, which is more efficient and accurate. So there's very low likelihood the test making a mistake. RNA sequence of the virus can be shared. So every country around the world has access to this sequence.
Although no one exactly knows what's in store for the future, it is important to look ahead. And new mutations are obviously being created every day, every minute, but their significance in the future is unknown, as the vast majority of these mutations will have no impact on our communities whatsoever. And currently, in our search for a vaccine, the goal is to create a vaccine that addresses both and all strains of the virus. So that is where we are heading.